Hello everybody and welcome to another Arkham Horror video here at Playing Board Games. I'm Justin and today it's the end of another season for the Patron Playalong League. If you don't know what that is, on our Patreon, every 2 months there are some new rules, a new challenge, and just a way for you to play Arkham with some ever-changing kind of rotating rule systems just to make the game a little bit more spicy, especially in this time where we actually haven't gotten any news for quite some time, and it looks like we're not getting any news until, they said hopefully in July, so, we're looking like we might get something soon. But in the meantime, what I always like to do is I like to just discuss what the previous season was and advertise that if this interests you, you should, hey, maybe check out our Patreon. $3 a month level lets you see the rules right now because the newest Season 6 is live right now. And it should be a fun one. With these challenges, I always like to kind of even challenge myself to keep the game fresh and exciting. So that's kind of what is going on here as well. So Season 5 was a pretty fun and also simple season. And it made us play with a lot of cards. Yeah, let's dive in. So Season 5, there can only be one. Participating players built decks with the following rules altering their deck building. Players may only include one copy of each non-weakness signature card by title. So this is basically like a Highlander, an EDH Magic deck, kind of. Notably, as additional rule, Underworld support is banned this season because an Underworld support gives you this stipulation, but also reduces your deck size by 5. And I said, no! We're not going to be giving rogues an advantage in this one, or people that can play, Underworld support. So that one is banned. So generally, 30 cards all have to be one-ofs. Should be kind of fun. Other than that, there is no limit to investigator or campaign choice. So actually, a really simple deck building stipulation for this one. And I actually had a lot of fun with it. I have 2 decks that I'm going to show you later in the video, along with some decks from patrons who also participated and shared their deck links with me. But yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with this scenario, with this one, and it kind of really turned the deck building on its head, kind of. Because you have to kind of just put in a bit of everything. Especially when it comes to weapons, you're not picky, you're just kind of throwing in what works. I also personally went for 2 Flex Investigators, which I thought was kind of fun. But let's get to the challenge mode of this season. So as I said, every season there's also a challenge mode that adds on to this stipulation. And the challenge mode for this one is there can only be one, but bigger. Rules. Each investigator must include a copy of Force Learning in their deck, even if it is outside of their deck building rules. So Force Learning increases your deck size by 15. So that adds an additional 15 one-ofs into your deck, which is an actual number of cards. That's actually something you need to be considerate of, especially in a one-of. It also has the ability that during your each upkeep phase, instead of drawing 1 card, you draw 2 and discard 1 of them. So you do find the one-ofs you want quicker, but your decks become notably less consistent during the mulligan. There also has some challenge levels, which I've kind of actually been putting in a lot of the recent seasons. There's one in Season 6 right now. But Challenge Level 1 is no additional rules. Challenge Level 2, each investigator must add an Overzealous as a weakness in their deck. This does not count as your random basic weakness. Force Learning is notably bad with weaknesses. And, an extra weakness in there can really, throw a wrench in the challenge. Of course, challenges are always optional. So you don't need to do this. I actually, in fact, did not do this. This was the first season where I did not do the challenge mode when I played through it, because I just wanted to experiment and play. And, like the taboo list, what makes game fun is, modularity in the rules. You can kind of just tweak it for how you want to play with it. Next up, we got some fun stats from this season. So there were 18 different campaigns run this season. That is more than the previous season. So yeah, we love to see it. Of those 18 runs, 16 of them were challenge runs. One of my runs is one of those not challenge runs. And then another patron that we're going to see their deck list for are also not challenge runs for that. The investigators played the most were Ashcan Pete, Daisy Walker, Diana Stanley, and Vincent Lee. They were each played 2 times. So there was a big variety in terms of investigators for this one. So yeah, there was no one that was played 3 times, just Vincent Lee, Ashcan Pete, Daisy Walker, and Diana Stanley. And notably, this is the 2nd season in a row where Vincent Lee was the most played investigator, so congrats, Vincent. Obviously a very fun investigator. He's still kind of the new hotness, and he's in my top 5. I like playing him a lot. And I might have actually played him this season. The highest earned XP was 4846 by Akachi and Rex, played by Arkham Librarian. This was the Innsmouth Conspiracy while playing the Season Challenge Level 2. So notably, I actually, like, whenever I do this, I try to grab... first off, I don't do custom campaigns part of this, because some custom campaigns, like Dark Matter, have a lot of experience that you can earn compared to regular campaigns. So I like the official campaigns, rather, because Dark Matter is actually a regular campaign. But I choose official campaigns for this, and I also try to choose the number that is not altered by arcane research and down the rabbit hole. So the highest number for like a non-mystic kind of thing here was Rex, which was the 46 that we have here. This Rex deck might actually have a down the rabbit hole, now that I think about it. It doesn't. Okay, good. We're perfect. We're perfect. Everything's great. So of the 17 completed campaigns at the time of this recording, 12 were wins and 5 were losses. This is actually one of our lower win rates. Only like a 70-ish% win rate for this whole thing, which means that the challenge was not nothing. This is actually one of the harder, more difficult challenges that we've had for this one. Same with the deck building stipulations. So, with all that said, why don't we get to some decks? We're going to start with mine. What I like to do with this is I like to showcase how different people approach the challenge, as well as kind of just, like, you know, talk about Arkham, because if you haven't picked it up by now, I love talking about Arkham. So, yeah, mine was an Ashcan Pete and Vincent Lee squad. My Ashcan Pete here, this is still ongoing. This is through Cyclopean Foundations, a fantastic custom campaign designed by Beard, and I highly recommend you check it out if you have not played it already. So this was an Ashcan Pete deck that I've actually already played before in the past. This is an Ashcan Pete deck that I also particularly really enjoy playing. So this is what I like to call my never fail Ashcan Pete. And it got a new powerful tool in the form of a literal tool, Pocket Multi-Tool. So as you can see here, I have spring loaded down at the bottom. So this now reads, it's a reaction ability. When you fail a skill test you're performing, exhaust a Pocket Magnifying Tool, Pocket Multi-Tool, and you get the +1 skill value, but +1 if it's during a treachery, an attack, and I actually clicked the wrong one. This is supposed to be Magnifying Lens. Yes, I am an idiot. Yes, I make mistakes, and yes, I'm not proud of it. But, so this basically means that this, with Vincent and Ashcan, the idea is that I can flex either way, and this makes it so that it's like, it's really, really fun. I would love to play this deck again with 2 Pocket Multi-Tools, mostly because I think that the deck would be even more fun with that. But the Never Fail Ashcan Pete, which also uses Jacob Morrison, is probably one of my favorite decks to play. It's just like a really good time. It's just really fun. Like, it has like such security that you're like, I'm unkillable. But it also is just like, you got to make a lot of interesting decisions, because you got to choose like, okay, do I ready Duke this turn, or am I readying Jacob Morrison? Because yes, I can put Bless tokens in. We have like the Ancient Covenant to take advantage of it. We have, don't look at this card. This card's not good. I'm playing all cards this year, so this is why some of the cards you're going to see in here are. But you can also see that we have Token of Faith to slowly... Like, you're like, this is actually not a Bless deck. And you're right, it's not. My favorite thing about Ancient Covenant is just that it passively just makes you pass tests, right? It just is like, if you're putting Bless tokens in and you're a survivor, just buy Ancient Covenant. It's going to help you win more. And that's kind of the approach of this Never Fail Ashcan Pete. But as you can see, yeah, a bunch of one-ofs, because that's the stipulation. A few cards, this Makeshift Trap, I've just never upgraded. I think like it has decks that are good, because there was one that was played during a Patron game day that we recently did, an Epic Multiplayer, and apparently the Makeshift Trap did fantastic work. And I believe it, like I do believe it, but I think you need to like, it's not in the deck where you're playing a bunch of one-ofs, is basically it. But other than that, like, pretty simple, delve too deep to get more experience, field work to, it's just really good with Ashcan Pete and Duke the Dog, And then Deduction and Vicious Blow because, you know, more clues and more damage is good. Inspiring Presence because it works with both Duke and Jacob Morrison. Pretty simple deck. This one's still ongoing. I have 3 scenarios left, and it's been going pretty smooth. It's been going pretty smooth because Ashcan Pete, the no-fail Ashcan Pete, it's a good time. Other deck here is Vincent Lee, which is, as you can see, I kind of throw in like every healing spell in here, right? Because my idea was that if I needed to have consistency, because like that's kind of the whole thing when it comes to this one card challenge, right? If you're doing a bunch of one-ofs in your deck to challenge yourself, even if you have like a limited collection and you need to like stretch thin, right? Because maybe multiple people are building the same decks. The most important thing about one-ofs is that you need to have redundancy, right? Which increases your consistencies. Because two-ofs increase your consistency, right? If you have 2 of your weapon, it increases your consistency. If you only have 1 of a weapon, for some reason, having more weapons is redundancy, and maybe the weapons aren't as good, but it at least will increase your consistency. That's kind of the approach here. For all the healing stuff, and as you can see, I'm also still running just some like generic weapons as well. Backpack to get things going. This Purifying Corruption is here once again. I need to play all cards, so we're trying it out. But it does heal, right? It does heal for our good friend... It heals for our good friend Vincent Lee. So I think it could be fun to like at least try it out, right? And that's kind of also what I like to do in these challenges. I like to try things out. You can see that there's actually a lot of that. The nice thing about this challenge, which actually was not my intention for it, was it's given me a lot of cards that I haven't played yet for my Play All Card Challenge, which is another challenge if you do not know that I'm trying. I'm trying to play every card this year, and it's been going pretty smooth. I think I'm at like 64% right now, so thumbs up. We're still staying on, but there's not a lot of cards I want to play left. But yeah, pretty simple. It's Vincent Lee, Runic Axe. You obviously need Glory for Vincent Lee to be able to play it, but it's doing great. Great time. Okay, let's see some patrons decks. First off, we got Butthead, which I always feel bad about calling Butthead, but Butthead has put their name as Butthead, so that's what I gotta say. But Butthead played Dunwich Legacy, Challenge Mode Level 2, so this is the Force Learning with an extra Overzealous basic weakness in the deck, and this was a loss. Before I get into the decks, let's see the comments here. So, was thinking down the rabbit hole would make up for the drip victory points you get from Dunwich. We ended up flying off the train. Otherwise, it was kind of going well, but got slaughtered and lost in time and space, and couldn't really get out of another dimension, and got swamped by enemies and killed. This happens a lot. Like, it's one of those things, Lost in Time. It's a fun scenario. I think it's a really well-made final scenario. But it can sometimes just, like, not go your way. So why don't we check out these decks here from Butthead. So we have the Diana Stanley deck. And let's just like... It is kind of like a nightmare to look at, isn't it? Like this is just a lot of cards for a deck. So it's a 50 card deck, 62 total. So 50 cards that are like actually like... From what I believe, 50 cards are like put in and then you have 62 extra cards. Ignore the Forced Learning here. It is legal by the rules of the stipulation. So yeah, like, once again, kind of like crazy to look at. Diana Stanley is also interesting for this challenge because Diana Stanley cares a lot about getting cancels into play. So like, big props to Butthead for actually like piloting a Diana Stanley through the challenge level 2 as well. Braver gamer than I, that is for sure. But yeah, you can see that we have the Azure Flame, Brandica Thugga, Shriveling, Sword Cane. These are like how we're going to kill stuff. We have a machete, just, you know, once again, you kind of have to, right? Like that's once again, the redundancy is consistency. Dragon Pole as well. A lot of things here. Notably a bandolier. I was going to say maybe there's a bandolier. A backpack to help find items, which there is a good chunk of. You can see here that there's actually a Crystal Pendulum and a Holy Rosary. So that's basically acting like a 2 of one of them, which is I think is really smart. Guard Dog, Enchanted Blade. Yep, more redundancy in the weapons. And then like all of these have been put up. Word of Command to help 5 spells. Once again, redundancy. Really nice, really nice. Yeah, this is it's hard to like grok and like look at this all and like understand it quickly. But I mean, it's just like a lot of good cards. It's just a lot of good cards and a lot of cards. I love this, like, you know, obviously Scroll of Prophecies helps you find more stuff. Scroll of Secrets will also help you just like drip draw to help you find more. Living Ink, let's see the upgrades on it. So we had the Subtle Depiction, you may choose not to remove one, and enters with 2 additional charges, increases the brain. I dig it. And you're kind of like, with this challenge, the thing that happened with me is you're kind of just like not picky, right? The first thing you see in the mulligan is what you're going to be like running with for the rest of the campaign. The rest of the scenario, rather. You're like, this is going to be my friend. The other deck here from Butthead is Daisy Walker, which honestly, I can't see being bad. Daisy has 5 book. Like, yeah, like No Stone Unturned. Yeah, level 5, Old Book of Lore, Down the Rabbit Hole again. I really liked Butthead's plan here of using Down the Rabbit Hole to game Dunwich, because, like, as you can see, there's a lot of experience. Again, I try to not include Down the Rabbit Hole in decks where you, for, like, the most XP gained, just because it's kind of gaming it, and, like, not in a bad way, it's just, like, it's not earned experience, so to speak, right? But, yeah, Dream Diary, notably the Madman, which is engaged with an enemy. I like it to kind of like, you know, have some protection for that. Forbidden Tome. I like, so some research stuff, 2 research things. There might be more as well. I could see there being more, but I scroll through right now, I can't really see. So this is move to a connecting location, discover a clue. I like this one. This is one I actually played very recently, and it went up in value for me. Old Book of Lore. Course, Occult Lexicon to help kill things. Hell yeah. Arcane Enlightenment for more tomes. Binder's Jar, which I think is really fun. It's a good way to, like, help Diana deal with enemies, kind of. Not really, like... I mean, we can kill enemies with this Daisy deck, with Occult Lexicon, right? Like, that's what's going to happen. But you also kind of, like, remove the problem, which is nice. Astral Mirror is really comfy over here. With Daisy, notably only 1 thing in the spell slot, which means that Daisy gets extra actions to play more things. Dr. Milan Christopher, William T. Mailson, book guy to help, card draw. Yeah. Honestly, this is just like pretty expected. Just a bunch of damn good cards. And that's kind of like what ends up happening with this challenge mode. Next one we got here is Chuck. This is from the Forgotten Age. No challenge mode, just regular deck building with Keimani Jones. So this is, I like Chuck brings in like a true solo one, and I like to showcase those as well, because I don't really play true solo. So, notes from Chuck. Keimani was doing very well. Very little Yig's Fury, 1 or 2 total. Had even finished all 3 acts in Threads of Fate. That's great. That's awesome. However, finally kept getting hit by Encounter deck during the Boundary Beyond. Was finally finished off by Timeline Destabilization, which ended it due to Sharon's Obel. Rest in peace. Using stealth to more easily evade things and discard them was excellent. No Vengeance. Was even able to evade the Harbinger twice with 1 action and 2 Lightning Bolt actions, thus getting rid of it off the table easily, and again with no Vengeance. That's awesome. Now, Keimani Jones is notably very good for the Forgotten Age, and I'm excited to take Keimani through the Forgotten Age sometime in the near future. I'm big on Keimani Jones, and I like combat Keimani Jones, but this is a solo Keimani Jones, so I imagine we're going to see ways to also get clues, which you can see here in Thieves' Kit 3 and Lockpicks. This is so much easier to understand than the giant 50-card decks from the challenge, but, you know, I like it, and I like seeing the next one, Arkham Librarians decks that we're going to be checking out next, and Buttheads previously. I like seeing their takes on the challenge. That's kind of why I do this. So yeah, there's the Sharon's Obel, which killed Keimani, but you know, you take it in true solo, right? Because it's just you. Hard Knocks level 4, that's a nice upgrade. And then the Stealth, which is really nice with Keimani. Very good with Keimani. Keimani I played in the last challenge, and I had a great time with Keimani's just a very... I enjoy Keimani. And I'm excited to explore more Keimani that comes with it. Kick in the Hornet's Nest for, you know, clues and money. Intel report. No Faustian Bargain, it looks like. Interesting. Maybe they don't have... Oh, they have Innsmouth. Maybe they just decided against it. I dig it. Switchblade. Oh, the Switchblade to fight with? Hell yeah. Nice. Leo DeLuca, just more actions is good. Ishtaka also seems really good. Like, Ishtaka for Keimani to evade Vengeance enemies is very good. It's very good. Hell yeah. Nice and simple. Yeah, the charisma is definitely worth it because like a Leonish talk out is chef's kiss. I dig it. I love it. All right. Last two decks here. We have Arkham Librarian. This is Akachi Onule and Rex Murphy. So these are the highest earning experience decks. The Rex with the 46 that I could find in my spreadsheet. Of course, there's room for errors. As you know, I am prone to just messing things up. But hopefully I didn't. So this was a win through the Innsmouth Conspiracy. And let's see some notes from Arkham Librarian. Hit the lottery and Light in the Fog. Both the Moon Room and the Pump Room were on the upper level. That seems to have made Rex and Akachi overly cocky because they woke Dagon up in the lair of Dagon. You know, if you don't wake up in the lair of Dagon, if you don't wake up Dagon in the lair of Dagon, are you actually really in the lair of Dagon? Am I right? Am I right, folks? Am I right? All right, so these ones are once again the decks with the Force Learning. So they're huge. They're absolutely huge. The Runic X and Akachi actually seems really fun. And then Akachi can play... I'm just curious. So Akachi can play... Charges 0 to 4. So Akachi can actually put 8 on the Runic X. Ooh! I don't know if it's... I mean, it seems really good with her weakness, too. I gotta try this. I think I gotta try... I gotta try Runic X Akachi. That sounds really fun. Man, this game's great. There's just so many things to try. Isn't it? You get something new like every freaking day. It's wild. So yeah, just a bunch of cool spells. Shards of the Void, you love to see it. You love to see Shards of the Void. Really nice with Akachi too, just an extra charge on that. Binder's Jar again, Power Word, Living Ink. Let me just take a Living Ink first. So Brain Fist, Combat Keimani. Sorry, Combat Akachi, makes sense. Macabre Depiction, after you reveal a cast with one of those, you may choose not to remove. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Power Word, Bonded Tongue Twister, 2 different commands, Mercy, Heal. Yeah, that seems really nice. I mean, it also seems really good in Innsmouth, right? You know, the guy deals damage to you, and you're like, nah, I'll just heal that damage, thank you, and then like you can go do something else. Interesting. Who was it played with? Rex, right? Okay. I wonder if Rex is running the riddle, the existential riddle. We'll see, because there could be some synergy there. We also see an Ikiak over here. Ikiak? I don't know how to pronounce the name, honestly. It changes every time. But yeah, you can see that there's just like a lot of the same. The sacrifice is really nice. It's just like, once again, goes to that point that I talked about earlier, where redundancy is really key to kind of making that all work. Again, you see the Crystal Pendulum, Holy Rosary, and St. Hubert's Key. Just to get anything to get the brain up, right? Anything to get the brain up. Dragon Pole, Runic Axe, Sword Cane as well. No sword. No enchanted blade, but hell yeah. You love it. You love to see it. Alright, let's look at this Rex deck. Alright. I love all the hand, like that's a lot of hand slots, right? But you, once again, it's just, you don't care what you get, right? Like you're happy to see Grim Memoir, which doesn't have a picture, and you're happy to see Fingerprint Kit. You just want one in your opening hand, right? Like, that's kind of just like how this one has to go. Pocket Telescope, which makes sense because of, you know, Innsmouth. Occult Lexicon, again. You kind of like have to prepare in this challenge to kind of flex either way. I can definitely, I did the same thing, right? Upgraded Grizzly Totem, Pathfinder, Quick Study, upgraded Strange Solution for the healing damage one. Interesting. Ancestral Knowledge to just get the deck even bigger. You love to see it. You love to see it. And all the skills here. Got a plan. The Raven Quill. Interesting. So the named asset is Dream Diary, Grim Memoir, and Occult Lexicon. So... Living Quill. So does not provoke attacks of opportunity. That's really cool. Does not take up any slots. When you play Raven Quill, you may search your deck for it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah! So just like some tutoring. I dig it. I dig all of it. So 1, 2, 3. Enraptured, Promise of Power, Faustian Bargain, Lucky Cigarette Case, which is really good with Rex. You're aiming to succeed by 2. Thieves Kit. You may use Foot instead of Book. Okay, so just like a way to get money back. Hell yeah. Cool. I love it. I love the deck. Okay, well, that has been another Patron Playalong League Roundup. We are currently on Season 6, happening right now on our Patreon. It just went live today. So if you like this and you're like, hey, maybe I want to try playing with some weird, funny rules, you can either use this or any of our previous Patron League seasons, or you could join us on Patreon. As I said earlier at the start of the video, $3 a month is the lowest tier to just come and support the channel. You get access to deck lists every month, 2 additional deck lists, and, you know, more posts. Once I'm done my move, I'm hoping to just dive back and start taking big bites out of the Patreon again. But at the very least, you can come support the channel, play along in the Playalong League, and have some fun doing it. And the most exciting thing is you can join all of the names down at the bottom of this thing, which appear at the end of all of our Arkham videos. So thank you to everyone who watched this video. Thank you to all of the patrons for supporting the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another Arkham Horror video on playing board games. In the meantime, have a good one. We love you, and as always, GG's.